Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Train Sim World 5 video. Today we're taking a look at the new route, which is going to go between Boston and Worcester in Massachusetts. Now, we have been in Boston before in Train Sim World. That was from Boston to Providence, so sort of the same area. I'm not going to go over so much detail around the greater Boston area itself because I kind of did that with the previous video. So I would direct you if you'd like to see that. If you don't know anything about that release from 2 Train Sim Worlds ago, I think it was Train Sim World 3, it should pop up in the top right-hand corner. And you can go and watch that if you'd like. But it's the MBTA, I think they call it commuter. So it's going to be Boston to Worcester, or it's called the Framingham-Worcester line. And this is what you're going to get. So we'll choose a route, show you right here. Now, it's going to be $39.99. For whatever reason, there was not a discount, a pre-purchase discount, sadly. I would have very much liked to save some money on this, but alas, it wasn't on offer. It's now available today, November 12th. It did get pushed back for various reasons. I think it was supposed to release in late October, but it's here now. So it's about 45 miles, circa 2019. Now, you're not going to get all of this stuff by default. What you are going to get by default is the HSP46, this loco right here. You're going to get the F40PH3C, which is this right here. This came with the Boston-Providence line, but you do not need the Boston-Providence line for this stock. You're also going to get the Rotom CTC5 cab car and coaches, and a CTC3, which was also from Boston-Providence, cab car and coaches as well. So the reason all this other stuff is in here, so the Acela and the ACS64 were used on Boston-Providence. Now you can't use those on this line because this is a commuter line. This is MBTA only. Those were on there because the other route, the Boston-Providence, was part of the Northeast Corridor. Well, the very tippy-top northern portion of it. Therefore, that's why those were in there. Now, you will see them at Boston South Station, the main terminus. So there's actually 2 terminus or termini in Boston. There's the North Station and South Station, and they are split. They do not connect directly. Anyway, the freight you see on here is fairly interesting in this because the western portion of this line from Framingham to Worcester has several CSX yards, some industries, a couple of Class 2 railroads, a Class 3 railroad. There's a whole lot going on. So to be able to use this stuff, which it is in the game via timetable, we'll look at it here in just a second. You'll need sandpatch grade, horseshoe curve, the BNSF SD70 ACE, and a couple of other things that are all mentioned in the article I'll link down below. And while you can't use some of the locomotives from said DLCs I just mentioned, it's due to the fact that you'll need the rolling stock for this to work, mainly the intermodal yard. And they have like a geometry train where they use flat cars in the game because dovetail reasons. So yeah, you cannot use these, I don't think, except for going to the yard, so on and so forth. But I do kind of want to see what you can do with the freight. So I'm going to just look at these real quick and see what it is you can look at. So it's Q436. So Q, that's a manifest train. Some mixed freight. Worcester to Framingham. That sounds fairly interesting. It's about 45 minutes. You got some switching. Switching at Framingham. Okay. It looks somewhat varied, unlike the last route that came out, Train Sim World 5, the first American route, the San Bernardino line, the BNSF. It kind of seemed like there was a lot going on, but it was actually very, very limited. And I hate when everything's like broken down. If I want to do some switching, I don't want it to be like 5 minutes and then you have to start another service. That's kind of stupid. So hopefully these are kind of chained together. I'm assuming a lot of this stuff's going to use interchangeable engines. So that was the AC44. Let's check out the Jeep. So you got 2 here. This is Boston Landing to Framingham. Interesting. Those are 45 minutes. Okay, so that is something totally different. SD40-2. Framingham switching. Da-da-da-da-da. So these Westboro switching, Westboro chemical. I believe that's Transflow. It's a truck to train or train to truck, what they call transload facility. I believe that's what that is. So it looks like it is somewhat varied. So that's pretty damn based. We'll get to the action in a minute. I know it's a lot of word salad right now. So the way trains work on MBTA is locomotives are going to be hauled west out of South Station, aka downtown Boston. And then going back to Boston from the west side, like, you know, from Worcester, Framingham, or something like that, you're going to be in a coach headed eastbound. You're going to get, I think, 5 scenarios. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's going to be a couple of those. And, of course, there's training and free roam and all that crap. But I want to get right into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to choose... hopefully a somewhat busy service. We, of course, are going to get in the HSP46, all new to Train Sim World, of course. And we'll do something somewhat early. I want to see it busy. And I can't do a full run because, again, this would make this video 17 weeks long. And I'm going to try and keep it condensed. Maybe a bit of a supercut action. Let's see. Why does it have that? What does that mean? South Station of Worcester, A48. Let's see. Yeah, we'll try that. I don't know what that little thing means there. That I have no clue. Maybe that's is that like a ticket? I have no clue. All right, we're gonna change this to custom. We're gonna make it July, and we're gonna throw some clouds in there, and let's get started. There we go. Load her up. So there's going to be 18 stations on this. 5 scenarios, like I mentioned, full-time table, freight, and passenger. And I think they updated the station boards or the passenger information, which is interesting because it did have that kind of United Kingdom vibe to it. Yeah, so it's different. It's updated. Nice. The 850 Worcester. So that's us basically telling us to get the doors open. This is going to be late. You can tell they still use the same darn font that they always use. It looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. I wish they would take the time to use actual font. It would make the routes that they build just feel so much more accurate. This is Boston, South Station. Like I said, I'm not really going to go over this. I direct you to the video I did on the Boston Providence, which this took place in. We'll show you a bit of the route. These down here are the yards. There's both MBTA, which is a commuter service, and Amtrak down here. And this line actually goes on down as well. It's part of an MBTA line. So this right here, this is Back Bay. As you can see here, this is the line that went to Providence in the Boston Providence DLC. It does not in this, obviously. And then this is the new line. This goes through Framingham to Worcester, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. It, you know, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got, you know, what they call the Greater Boston Commonwealth, you know, the outskirts of the city itself, and then it's kind of out in the woods. It's some very hilly countryside in real life. It's pretty. It's got a lot of lakes, rivers, things like that. You know, forests, hills. I don't know if I said hills already. But let's get this thing moving. We're going to get right in. I want to see what this thing sounds and feels like and all that good stuff. Let's get the light on in here so we can see first and foremost. We will get the reverser in, and we will open the doors. There we go. They are now opening. Let's see what the cab has got to offer. Visuals wise, it looks about standard. The lighting is still very abysmal, sadly. Everything is just super washed out. It's got like a Silent Hill vibe to it, if you catch my meaning. I feel like the shadows could definitely use some work, and overall texture. You know, everything always tends to look kind of like a toy or has this plasticky look overall. Sadly, that has not changed. Who knows if it'll be updated. The console actually looks pretty good, and that's because it's a darker color and it's not the gray like this, which is in a lot of locomotives, North American locomotives in Train Sim World, obviously. Get over the doors. Hear the sound occlusion. You can't go back in the engine room, naturally. Open the windows. Very good. You see a lot of decals in here, some appropriate decals and things like that, which is pretty cool. Very nice. Let's see what we got back here. Fuse cabinet. Let's open that bad boy up. There's our main battery knife. Everything is already running, obviously. I just want to see what you can mess with here, if anything. So you've got all your fuses. We are going to make sure the safety system is on and try and run that. So there's three. There's what they call Access, ACSES, ATC, and PTC. I think only the two former work on this. Let's see. Head-in power. Of course, that supplies power for when you're cab car leading. So it looks like all that's good. Very good. We'll get that closed back up. There we go. Let's see what we got up here. So we are set to run. There's your engine start. E-brake is on. What do we got here? Alerter cut out. We'll cut that in for now, and then we're going to try and do a run and just listen to it and, you know, hit some speed and look around and things like that without having the safety system bash us on the shins as we do so. Let's head in power, set to B end only. Okay, all that's already set. I think that's it. Got your little jump seat. Crouch down. Seats look okay. I don't believe you can move them forward or backwards or up or down or anything like that. That was an option in some older DLC. I can't remember what the hell it was now. But it would be cool to kind of move your position around. You can see the foot heaters down there. It looks like it's made out of stone, so that's an interesting texture. Yeah, chairs look okay, though. Chairs look okay. Interior is, you know, it's okay. It's not fantastic. Could do with a bit more weathering and just more detail overall on the texturing. I know that's a blanket statement. Easy to say, hard to do kind of thing. But it definitely could be bumped up. Let's get back in this bad boy. Close the doors. Mess with your visors. Alright, here's your TMS up here. Just like, if you'll recall, like the engines on the Metrolink stuff and the cab cars within there. Our light dimmer, rear headlights, windshield wipers. So we got nothing over there. What do we got over here? That says brake is applied. I don't want to mess, like, I obviously not done the tutorial or training or anything like that, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But let's make sure that it says we are cut in, so our automatic brakes cut in, independent brake set to lead, and braking is set to passenger. Let's go back. How do you go back? Let's see, all brake functions. So I guess I can't do that. So you can only do... Yeah, so you can't actually do brake functions. There's the radio here. It's sideways in these. Very interesting. Go ahead and throw that forward. Let's see, what do we got here? Territory switch. So here's our safety system readout. It's currently set to restricted, as you can see on the little red bubble there. Alright, let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Got another touch screen here. It looks like our brakes are good to go. We're just going to hit stuff. I don't see anything with faults or HVAC. It says not running, so I guess that's in here. Alright, so for those that may not be aware, they apparently did go to Boston and MBTA, and they got permission to get pictures and sounds and things like that, so it should be decent, hopefully. Let's double check everything. We should already be hooked up. Let's go ahead and throw that independent all the way on, release the train brake, open the window so we can listen to this. There goes the needle. charged. Independent brake is set, so you can actually see what's going on here. Let's give it a notch. Okay, Ginfield switch. Where is that? We need the Ginfield switch. Did I miss that? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. I obviously did. Where the heck is it? It's not going to be in there. Engine room, cabinet, Traction interlock. Where's it at? Ginfield switch. Ginfield switch. It might be on the El Computadora. Let's look up here. Reading lights, gauge lights, turn those on. Step lights, front markers, that's your reds. There we go. Ginfield's right up there. So your engine run, Ginfield, and control. I had no clue where that was. And here's our HVAC stuff up here. Alright, let's sit back down. Alright, now let's give it a notch. Set the independent brake to release before applying power. So, what does it have, like a weird interlock, or is that just a dovetail holding your hand thing? Let's get that bell going. Definitely going to be an e-bell. All this stuff has e-bell. Turn the volume down a skosh. I like the LED lighting on the steps. That looks pretty nice. The headlights themselves have a realistic color, that kind of amber color, or late day sun look, which is nice. So they're finally figuring that out, which is cool. All right, next stop is Back Bay. We got a couple of stops, and then we got some wide open track, and we're gonna let this thing stretch its legs. Give it another notch. You gotta creep out of here until you get to the curve up yonder. You can hear some clanking, joint sounds, things like that. Pull the throttle back and idle. The ballast, I'm noticing right from the jump, looks pretty bad as well. So they did fix the rail kind of shadow deal where it doesn't pop out in front of you, which is nice. It's nice. That's a new thing since Train Sim World 5. We should have had it a long time ago, but alas, it's here now. But the ballast is never great, especially with North American routes. This stuff is just way too dark for the area to be any kind of prototypicality. It's a lot more light gray. This is very dark. It almost looks like coal. So that's kind of crap. I really wish they would fix the ballast overall and the track texturing and the repetitive nature of it all. Come on, you guys are on the 5th game. Let's fix it. There's our alerter. Alerter is cleared. So yeah, we got the updated station boards, which we saw. So the way this is set, circa, the time period, it's supposed to be, I want to say, like 2019 or something like that. So this line changed hands over many freight railroads from decades and decades ago. And they went through a massive overhaul, changing all the signaling and the infrastructure and things like that. And that happened in 2021? Might have been 2020. I don't know when they started. So this takes place before all that. So you'll have a bunch of different types of signals for those that may not be aware. What's called like Vader signals or color signals and things like that. So, or tricolor. So there should be a nice variation of different colors. We got a 30 now, so I'm going to give it a couple of notches. I'm not going to get crazy with the throttle thus far, but I do want to hear this thing because this is a freight engine inside of a passenger locomotive. This is a Gevo 12 in this thing, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Comes in the AC, or the 44s. There's so many different engines nowadays that come with the Gevo 12. You know, meeting Tier 3 emissions and things like that. What's known as the Gevo. You can just call it the Gevo. Alright, we got a 30, but we're going downhill. Again, I'm not really going to go over this area because I kind of did this, you know, when Boston-Providence came out. But once we pass Back Bay, which is right here, our first stop, then we're going to kind of get into some new territory. So we'll see how that is. We have our first stop up here, Back Bay. But yeah, there were Conrail tricolor lights, signals. You know, more modern CSX Vader signals, old searchlights. So you should have a decent amount of different signaling, which should be interesting to see. I don't know what car length we are. What is that, 5? Oh no, so that's right. So one of the things with this add-on and the way these trains run is they'll mix the single-level cars with the bi-level cars. And it's totally normal, so if you see that, which I think this train is a part of, it's totally normal. And that screen, your readout on the right there will not display the older single-level cars. Let's get the doors open. Oh my god. There we go. Dang it. We'll just have to, son of a... Let's see if we can do it now. Yeah, when you try to do the free cam underground, it does weird stuff. So we're in Back Bay Station on Boston-Providence. It was through the wall over there on the other side. It looks like they have updated in here, though. I can attest it's a lot more grimy. The concrete looks a lot more worn and potted. And just, you know, the paint is not level across these columns, which looks nice. It's grimy in here, man. This looks pretty good. So they cooked in here pretty decently. It sure as hell did not look like this on Boston-Providence, the former MBTA route. Something else they added is these actual MBTA signs. That's actually what they look like. I don't remember if those were Boston-Providence or not. But it's got an old look down in here. It's because it is. It's an old line. Like early 1800s. Trains been running through here. There's just trash everywhere. You know, they went a little crazy with it, but you know, it's there nonetheless. Let's see. Do we have? So we got 2, 3. Yeah, so we do have a single level coach. So yeah, that's what is not displaying on the TMS. And this is our cab car. Of course, it has the markers on. Thankfully, there was an issue in older train sim worlds where the rear coach or cab car wouldn't display the markers, which is all right. Let's go. Let's close the door. Lock them up. So yeah, will not display them on the screen. All right, there we go. Bell on. So yeah, these things are pretty quick compared to the older engines that MBTA used, namely the F40 that came with Boston-Providence. These things are like rockets compared to those, which is, I'm sure, why they kind of went with this locomotive and the builder, which was MPI. These engines, you know, they had a couple of people on the table that they wanted to get them from. One was Voslo, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that name. A builder out of Europe, I think. Is it Germany? I want to say it's German. Or MPI. So they went with the home brand, being in the States, obviously. And that's who built this locomotive. Something else I'd like to mention as well, which we will look at momentarily, is Dovetail Games said that they were going to add new F40 sounds. They did not. They had the sounds, they did not add them. Allegedly. Total Dovetail moment. It's not the first time this has happened. So they did add some sounds. I would like to reiterate, like, you know, air brake sounds and switches and things like that. Little kind of, you know, secondary sounds, but they didn't add the new prime mover sounds. But to be honest, I don't think the F40 sounded bad to begin with. I mean, it was probably one of the best sounding North American locomotives in train sim world ever at the time when it came out. So if they got actual F40 sounds, I want to hear them bastards, and quick like. So hopefully we'll see that. I'm going to try and base this look on, of course, like the last video that I did on value, playability, sounds, and visuals, or graphics. And try and look at each segment, you know, to see as a whole or a sum and add it up and see whether or not the average is above or below. Alright, we're currently set at a 30. Another thing that Dovetail did is they worked with the fella that helped them with Long Island Railroad and Boston Providence, I believe his name's Brandon, on the signaling from these routes to kind of get it right, get it accurate, and as close to prototypical as can be. And he has also made several very nice manuals. I believe you should be able to find them on the Dovetail Games forum, so I'll direct you to there. I believe they were also in one of the articles that Dovetail Games published, some of the tricolor lights, so those are old there, so that's cool to see. It explains all your different lights, your signals and things like that, so if you don't want to use the HUD like a pleb, such as me, you can do that. But I mean, we're talking about 3 different types of signals, masts. Then you've got ATC, ACSES, PTC doesn't do anything in this instance. Alright, here's our next stop. We gotta remember, we are 6 car, right? Next station, Lansdowne, and there's a very big landmark here at Lansdowne. As we get the train stopped and open the door. Come on, man. So I can safely say that the brakes don't feel overpowered at this point. They actually feel quite nice. It took a second to stop, which was very cool. Oh, let's get outside here. Where's it at? There it is, Fenway Park Baseball Club, home to the Boston Red Sox. Numerous championship titles within. It looks okay. The green looks terrible. That doesn't look anything like the real green. I mean, the railing up top is a more akin to whatever that is down there. That's like a, God, what is that light blue color called? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of like the racetrack deal on the San Bernardino line that they released. You know, it's there. An attempt was made. But this is the station for Fenway Park, and gosh, I want to say they were established in like the turn of the century, like 1902 or 1903 or something like that. So over 120 years. Baseball club. The stations look pretty damn legit. This thing looks legit. It's just got that kind of simplistic concrete design. You can see MBTA's sign up there, the T. I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty damn accurate. But we got to keep this sucker moving, so let's get the doors closed. So yeah, back behind us where we left, of course, was Boston, the capital of Massachusetts and the most populous city within the state. Get the bell going. It was founded by Puritan settlers in 1630. Give it another notch. And of course, the site of many famous historical American things, such as the Boston Massacre, 1770, the world's largest tea party at the time, 1775. Was it 73 or 75? I messed that up. I'm American. I should know that. Battle of Bunker Hill. That wasn't 1775. You know, home to Harvard University, which is just off to the north that way, just a little bit, right across the Charles River, which runs, kind of divides the city. So that's why you got like the north and the south of Boston. Charles River's over that way, and then the bay, of course, is behind us. Home to MIT. And, of course, the Red Sox. Several other, you know, major sporting teams as well. Let's listen to that horn. That actually sounds pretty damn good. So kudos to Don't Test Games on that one. That actually sounds pretty good. Like I said, they actually went to MBTA. They worked hand in hand with them. Were able to get recordings. You know, take photos, all that good stuff. So GG on that. I think that it's like a K5LA on this. I don't know whether it's like a square tag or, you know, I don't know any of that crap. I know it's K5LA. Next stop is Boston Landing. Just about 2 miles. We got a 40. Once we hit these next couple of stations, it should widen up. Here's some of the older searchlight style signals there. So that's a totally different type of signal, which is neat to see. And at the, I think Boston Landing's pretty wide open in the sun, so we'll take a peek at this thing overall. We got a 45 now. Every time you hear that beep, it's allowing a new speed increase or possibly decrease. Normally you'll get a penalty with the decrease. Right here on the right is an old rail yard. I think it's called Beacon Yard. No longer in use. For the most part, I think they do store hazardous waste here, but it's not a massive operations yard. Gosh, what do we get there? 80. We're not even going to bother with that because we're going to be stopping in just under a mile. But I think that yard on the right shut down 2012 or 2013 thereabouts, and it essentially moved its operations to Worcester. So the yard that we'll see down the end of the line on the western terminus of this route in Worcester is that now. So they just moved it. They moved it out of a busier, kind of thicker, I guess you could say more dangerous area. And you know, you got the, what is it, Providence and Worcester, I think it's called, Class 2 down there. So they kind of got a little interchange. It was just a better overall option for CSX to move the yard. The yard that's back there, I think now, I think Harvard, the university, prestigious law school, ended up purchasing it, or some of the land, or something to that effect, I think, to expand or build or something to that effect. Trying to focus on getting stopped here. And we'll get out and take a peek at this HSP46. Alright, minimum app. This is kind of a station. It's like something you might remember from Long Island Railroad. It's kind of got that look to it. Just a middle platform, nothing crazy, no you know, giant structure or anything like that, save for the walkway that goes across the track there. And get this thing stopped nice and gentle like. Open the doors. So while we're stopped here, we'll go over the MBTA itself. The centerpiece of this route, it is called MBTA Commuter. MBTA stands for Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority. Transportation serving Greater Boston with rail, bus, ferry boat, light rail. Operations began and date back to the 1960s. Predecessors date all the way back to the 1830s, like I was saying a moment ago, in Back Bay. Currently consists of 12 lines out of a northern and southern terminus, like I mentioned a moment ago as well. 12 commuter rail lines, that is, totaling nearly 400 miles. And kind of like think of it like a wagon wheel design, hub-centric, with the north and south stations, with no immediate connection. But yeah, the Framingham Worcester line, which is the line we're on, and the line that this DLC is about, was actually the first commuter rail line ever. Here anyway, dating back to 1834. So that in itself is pretty interesting to me anyway. I see something back there trying to sniff us, see what we had for lunch, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. We got two F-40s and a Jeep. Let's see, what the hell is this? AI service name, Extra Boston MA. I don't know. What the hell? Okay, so it's showing there are cars behind it. Oh, there are. They're flats. Okay, so yeah, these are flat cars behind it. That's weird. He's right up our ass. But okay, let's get going. We'll go over this this locomotive and get out of this thing's way. Let's get the doors closed. Get the bell going. Peel off the brakes. We'll give her 2 notches. The horn sounds alright in cab as well. It sounds very similar, but there are some differences. Let's close that window. Yeah, it's got that nice kind of interior reverb / rattle vibe, which is interesting. Give it another notch. Fun little fact about this area and this building right here. This is, for those aware of New Balance, the shoe company, this is their headquarters. They have like a, it's like a campus. The main building is this here, and then there's several buildings all over. And it's all part of New Balance. The shoes and other stuff. I mean, they obviously make more than shoes, but catch my drift. Alright, we've got a speed limit of 60. Next stop's Wellesley Farms, so we're kind of getting out in the burbs now. We got 7 miles. Let's crank this thing up. So the MPI HSP46, which is what we're in, was built by Motive Power. It's a 4-axle diesel electric locomotive, which MBTA received the first unit and only. I think they're still the only ones with them in 2014. It, of course, is powered by GE Gevo 12 prime mover, and it was also styled by the designer Cesar Vergara, which also made the very highly coveted Genesis locomotive. And it's definitely kind of got that same look about it, the front, the fascia of it, you know. Think P42, P32, if you will, when it comes to the Genesis. They were built 2013 to 2014, this here, the 46, at 40 units. These things weigh about 288,000 pounds with an 80 mile an hour service speed. I think it's well over 100 non-service. 65,000 pounds starting tractive effort, and utilizes, as I mentioned, AC, SES, ATC, and PTC, and the latter not being in the game. There's some more old signals there. Alright, we got to start slowing down. Let's see, we got to brake, so you got to put it in a certain setting. To... what is it? Yeah, so these are weird. The way the ACSES and the axis works is you've got to put it in a correct setting, and I did not do that. Like with some of the other stuff, you just set it to suppression. I just heard something else beeping. Oh, it actually, if you hold the alerter down, it actually, that's crazy. We'll just hit the emergency. Shut up! Alright, it has been reset. We got it moving again. Typically, when that is going off, you have to set the automatic brake in suppression and then clear it with the acknowledge. And then you keep on rolling. Alright, we've got a 79 now. I want to hear this thing rumble. So let's get the windows back open. And just soak in the sound. And I kind of want to do the same from exterior. So I'm going to shut up while we run this engine. And then we'll do the same with exterior. Volume up. Okay. Let me turn the volume back down here. They sound good. They sound pretty damn spicy. That, I'm trying to articulate my thoughts into words. They actually sound pretty damn legit. Now, You might note that it doesn't quite sound like a Gevo 12, obviously. It's the same prime mover, but there are some differences. I think a lot of it is the exhaust note. You know, and different bits of equipment and things like that, but the Gevo sound is living inside of this thing, for certain. And I'd also like to point out, a lot of these signs are realistic. So it's actual signage now, which is pretty cool. You know, in the past, with a lot of your Train Sim World stuff, especially in Overbreak there, panicked. You know, a lot of your North American stuff, and other, you know, UK and European routes as well, a lot of your road signs and things like that are just incorrect. It's just normally like some fake, made-up stuff. From, as far as I could tell, from Boston, I meant to mention it earlier, from Boston all the way out to here and beyond to Worcester, it's all legit road signs, for the most part. You know, there may be some variation here and there. But that was a nice touch. So, little things, you know. I slowed down a wheel too much. You can hear that rumble though, man. And I want to hear that exteriorly. Is that a word? Exteriorisms. Alright, we got 1.5 miles. Kind of coast up. The big road that is following alongside us and that we've been following alongside for quite some time is Interstate 90. A huge artery that runs east and west in this area, all the way to Boston. There's some of your old signals there as well. 1 mile. Let's go ahead and pull it down to 1. The foliage, you know, it's obviously ripped from a lot of their other routes. I get heavy, you know, sandpatch grade and horseshoe curve vibes. It kind of has that same kind of weird, everything's really dark, like the color palette just seems so off, from the ballast to the trees. And I hope that's something that Dovetail Games gets right at some friggin' point. That would be amazing. You know, but it's sort of passable. You can tell that they've mixed a lot of different variation of bush and weeds and things like that all through there. It's not just trees, you know. You've got like your tree canopy, and then you've got undergrowth. Here in Florida, for example, you cannot walk through the woods without just being inundated with some sort of undergrowth, which is full of bugs and snakes and other things that want to kill you. And so you kind of get that vibe here. Like, you can see a good amount of undergrowth, which is nice. I've seen quite a few bungalows, little pieces of railroad infrastructure right here, as well as the magnets down there for the safety systems. We've got these odd rocks over there, which again is very horseshoe curvy and sandpatch grady, which are 2 previous routes. Train Sim World, for those unaware. Alright, next stop, Wellesley Farms. And from here, when we take off, we'll do like a station listen, rail fan style. All right, bail off. So this is Wellesley Farms. Next up is Wellesley Hills, Wellesley Square, I think Natick Center, and West Natick, and then Framingham. And I think what we'll do is stop this run at Framingham and then hop in a cab car, doing my best worst Massachusetts impression, and then head east and see what that's all about, and look at Worcester. And what's interesting about this area, for those again that may not be aware, which I hate saying because I know there are that are not, and there are that do, but this route was made for Trainsim Classic. It was set in the older New York Central and Boston and Albany era, but it's literally tit for tat, pretty much the same deal, except in Trainsim Classic it went all the way to Springfield, Massachusetts. Alright, so let's sit here and listen to this bad girl rev up. Brake release sounded okay. There's one notch. Can't really hear much too. Let me turn the volume up again here. Oh, shut up. I like the platforms as well. The scuffed up paint, the concrete, the wood trim, that looks pretty damn nice. So, props for that. That looks legit. So that's notch 4. You can start to hear some of the rumble. We'll go ahead and listen to the entire train go by, see if anything new is with that. I'm not really hearing the kind of light rail car coach sound at all. I mean, you can kind of hear it, but it's very dim. Way too low. Alright, let's get on the engine. Alright, so we got a 60. Let's let these ponies run and listen to this. Notch 6. That's when you really start to get in the good stuff, is like 6 through 8. Actually 5 through 8. 7. 8. And we gotta stop. Son of a biscuit. Yeah, we gotta stop here. So these are pretty close, Wellesley Hills and the Wellesley Square. So let's make sure we're stopped here. There's kind of a bit of a curve between here and Wellesley Square, but not too crazy. We should be able to get up to a decent speed. I do like the platforms though. They did a pretty damn good job with the platforms. You know, I'm not one that's crazy about a lot of your passenger stuff, really, especially commuter stuff. But it seems like, especially with the North American market, that's what Dovetail has been aiming for lately, which kind of sucks for us freight chads. You know, I don't know the reasoning behind that. I'm guessing because it's easier, they can get a better kind of understanding with these smaller commuter companies and be able to get out and record their stuff, whereas, you know, freight and these larger class 1 companies, they're a little bit different, a lot more strict on certain things. So, you know, who knows? I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's just, it seems like it's commuter after commuter for North American stuff. Let's lock the doors. Straight to 4. Bye. Alright, Wellesley Square is a little over a mile. Let's get up the track here and do a flyby, see what that sounds like. Alright, here we go. She's coming around the bend. We'll give it the beans, notch 6. And we'll go straight to 8. Doggo. It sounds pretty good, but you know, there's some like treble and mids in the sound and the mixing that seem to be not present, especially with the coaches as they run past. All right, so we're relegated to 60 at the moment. Half a mile to Wellesley Square. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes next. I mean, the only thing that I know of that's upcoming for North American at all in Train Sim World is a friggin' high iron simulations. And for those, again, not aware from the Train Sim Classic genre, they make some nice routes, but that's about the extent of it. They are the kings of reskins. They take old, not good stock and reskin it and sell it at a premium. And I really hope that's not the future for Train Sim World North American stuff. That would really suck. I know they have like a historic pack, you know, ATSF or something like that coming up, so we'll see, man. I don't know. You know, a lot of the commuter stuff has been okay. I must admit, I will admit, you know, I won't deny them that. You know, Long Island Railroad, the second bit, when they finally fixed it and sold it for the 50th time, and you had to rebuy it for the 50th time, and the Harlem line was pretty good. Boston Providence, the Acela, it's all pretty decent shit, honestly. All right, and let's take a look at this thing. The model itself looks pretty legit. It seems to have the appropriate shape. It's got a bunch of little funny indentions, like the headlights and the markers, and it's kind of got these eyebrow bones, whatever you want to call them, and then, you know, the head's up there as well. The thickness around the glass, it all looks pretty legit. Like, model-wise, like I've always said, they've, you know, it's always been pretty dang good. It's always the kind of texturing and not having that kind of child's play toy look to it, you know, is... I mean, it's got some weathering. It's just super chunky and blocky. Coloring looks pretty good. I mean, they already had that from Boston Providence. You got your access doors on both sides, both inoperable. Yeah, visually, looks alright. Looks alright. Alright. Lock them up. Ring the bell. You know, these things are powerful, especially for passenger stuff, commuter. You know, it takes them a minute to get rolling here. Comes an inbound. Again, you can see the mixed consist between the bi-levels and the single levels, which you will see that. It does look funny, I will admit, but it does throw some variety in there. Next stop, Natick. 2.7. Is it Natick or Natick? Now 6. We got a cleared speed of 60 currently. Notch 7. Hey, I can't get over this ballast, man. It's so dark. It looks ridiculous. This area looks a bit bare, sadly. The line side, just, ugh. What the hell? That's interesting. It's like a magic trick. Like a piece of wood and it disappears. Yeah, it's all way too dark. The patterning on the tracks themselves. The exposed dirt. I mean, back in here that looks pretty good, which is nice. This is kind of where you get to the extreme outer edge of Boston. I mean, we've been out of Boston for a hot minute now. Got old rusted bungalow here. That's cool. Got some old tricolors. It's definitely neat seeing multiple types of signaling and signage from a bygone era. That is neat. The further we get, though, it's starting to kind of look like maybe they missed some areas with like foliage and grass and weeds and things like that. And while this is well and good and nice so far, again, it's a commuter road. You know, you're only going to be seeing these. You might see the odd F40. You'll see a little bit of freight once you get down here. But, you know, again, with a lot of Train Sim World stuff, barring a few routes, it's a one and done kind of deal. You know, I'll get that honeymoon phase. I'm like, all right, this is all right, and I'll play it a couple hours, and I have no desire to play it anymore. And it's almost like Dovetail knows that. You know, at least for Steam and PC players, which I'm on PC, by the way, 4070 Ti, 32 gig system memory. It's on an SSD with a 5800X processor. And, you know, it's running just fine. I haven't had any issues. But I kind of feel like that's what Dovetail bets on. Because they want to get you past that 2-hour mark where you can't refund anything. Because it's, you know, it's kind of how much time it takes, and then it's like, all right, well, now what? All right, here's Natick. But it always amazes me that so many people can just sit and play this game like endlessly. I wish I could. I wish. I just I can't, you know, I can't do it though. Got a wheelbarrow back there. Station looks legit. I like all the friggin' urban art back there from the urban artists. It's kind of a single overhead. It's a little old. Got Natick up above. You got your lunchbox and your crocheted sweater. America. Just a little village. All right, let's lock them up. Oh my God. Did I? Oh, it is a right platform. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then the other issue with a lot of these routes, so we're obviously on Train Sim World 5. If you're new to this, my deepest apologies. If you're not, you know the drill. You know, a lot of stuff will come out, such as, and it'll get broken. They'll release an update that'll break something, and then they'll have to release an update to fix that, which will in turn break something else, and on it goes. It's happened to numerous add-ons. Namely Boston Providence, which it wasn't perfect, on its release, but it was in a playable state, and then it became very unplayable. Same with the original Long Island Railroad, and just numerous other routes. And you know, it's always in the back of my mind, is that going to happen again with this? It's, you know, historically, one would think, yes, very probable. Does look like it's got some nice signage, though. I know the guy that helps him out with this. He is an American that lives in this area, and he's helped him with numerous other routes and signaling and things like that. You know, you see all kinds of nice little bits of track stuff, which is nice. I think this over here is Lake Cochituat? Cochituat? Cockatuat? I know, it sounds like I'm being ridiculous, and I kind of am. But look it up. I don't know how to pronounce it. My apologies. But it's a pretty massive lake. There's actually a couple of lakes through here that you'll kind of run alongside. And there's like a huge, that little island over there. It's not really an island, little peninsula more like it, is some sort of, I want to say it's a Navy base or a reserve base or something to that effect over in the lake there. Next up is West Natick. Let's just get down to speed here. I didn't mean to slow down that much. But yeah, there should be a couple of cool things up here at Framingham, which is where we'll stop, and then we'll kind of run back the other way and poke around. Some more not so great line side looks. It just does not look good. You can tell they like layered it with a couple of different ground textures. You see what I mean though? Like the contrast in the colors, the dark coal-like ballast, the Georgia iron heavy dirt red, and then the deep green of the grass. Like it just, none of it matches. It looks so fake. I really wish they would work on stuff like that. How hard is it to look at an area and figure out a color palette for stuff like that, you know? I mean, is that too much to ask? With Southern California, it's pretty damn simple. They nailed that. It's sand and dry brush for the most part. Palm trees. You know, it's not that hard, but you know, places like this, they do have a look. And I don't know, that I think the lighting overall certainly doesn't help with just that kind of washed out. Everything looks fuzzy and kind of hazy and just not clear. West Natick, a burb. Again, all these stations look pretty legit. So, I mean, you know, kind of like the San Bernardino line that came out with Train Sim World 5. You know, they got a lot of this stuff legit. And I do like this kind of plastic grip. I believe they've used that before, but it looks good when it's actually mixed with some of the newer stuff like this wood and the actual concrete or asphalt in this case. MBTA Poiple. Big car park over there. I'm assuming that's a collectible. I don't mess with that. I care not. Alright, let's lock them up. Alright, Framingham, next stop, 1.5. So there's actually, well, there should be 3 yards up here. 2 of which are still active, and 1 of which is not. The one that is not is on the south, which would be our left side. And then the 2 that are on the north, and then there's 1 on the west as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The shading overall has to be fixed in this game. You know, everything just looks so flat and superficial. It's the overall kind of coloring of everything. Wait a minute. Son of a bitch. Some bitch. Alright, it's in suppression. I cleared it. I think it's gonna make me stop till I can clear it. You can see a brake fault or penalty there on the screen. Penalty still present. Oh, I didn't have it in idle. That was my problem. I did clear it, but I accidentally hit the throttle key. Like a ding-dong. But yeah, the lighting could be fixed, for sure. You know, and just the shading overall and the shadowing. Everything's always just kind of got this overly bright look to it. And it is not nice. Alright, we're almost up here to Framingham, where they hang lots of hams on the wall and frame them. Many hams will be framed. Some more tricolor. I believe those are old Conrail lights. Corn fail. Alright, here we are. We do have a crossing. There are a couple of crossings on this route, but not many. Minimum app. All right, open the doors. Go take a look at the old Framingham station. Looks pretty damn good. Nice. Okay. I do like you know, I do like little touches like this. I mean, of course you holy what in the hell, my dude? Put down the Chiba. Too much Chiba. Oh. Okay. We're in the future. But yeah, station looks great. There's, you know, there's some weirdness. Like, look at the chimney. What in the hell? Here's that weird train that's been following us. Right up our ass again. I'm curious. So, you know, stations and a lot of stuff on this line, like I said a moment ago, for those not aware, on Train Sim Classic, there was a Boston to Springfield route that went through Framingham and Worcester and had these old stations just like that. And I wonder if, you know, Dovetail and Gare Bear at High Iron Simulation have kind of been butt buddies for a while now. if they kind of helped with assets and buildings and things like that. I wonder if they got some of the buildings from HIS. You know, to help out with. I am very curious about that. All right, so this Y runs up into the CSX yard here. You can see some stuff up in here. This is the Northern Framingham yard, which is eloquently called CSX Framingham Yard. You can see some stuff all up in here. Got some string liners, box cars, reefers, hoppers, tanker, couple of engines chilling. Cool, so that is there. This, I think this is part of like a huge reservoir chain. I cannot remember what the name of the reservoir is, but that's there. Down to the south, let's see if we can get down here, is a old yard as well. Is it this, or did I pass it up there by the station? Oh wow, there's a tree right in the middle of that sumbitch. Yeah, I don't think it's this. This must be like, what is this? What line is this? Yeah, we're not, that's not what we want to go down here. And I mean, you can just look on the map. So this is the old yard. It's obviously not there. It might just be called the Framingham Reservoir. I just heard a goose, I think, or a duck, so that's kind of neat. I do like the little... I'm so tired of seeing this building. This building has existed for North American stuff since what they called Northeast Corridor from the first Train Sim World. Or what's it, Train Sim World 2020? Oh my god, get a new office building, please. Something. Here's the other yard. Got the Norfolk Southern Logons, which are interesting to see here because you did not see these things on Horseshoe Curve ever, or the flat cars, and then now you're seeing them all of a sudden. What in the hell? It's a little solar farm over here. That's there in real life as well if you look at the yard. I think this is called Nevin's Yard. CSX Nevin's Yard, also CSX, obviously. So cool, they do have that. It looks like you can, you know, you will be able to do some freight operations and stuff like that, but we're about dead center in the middle of all that. So let's go ahead and hop over to Worcester, and then we will come east, at least to Grafton, and check out everything over there in the cab car as well. Alright then guys, we are in Worcester, the second largest city in Massachusetts, home to Union Station, which you see before you, this magnificent structure built 1911, and also the current home, well not the station, but this town to the Providence and Worcester Class 2 Railroad, a CSX Intermodal hub behind us, which we'll take a look at for the Boston Division, and western terminus of the MBTA line. So this is where they stop, hence why I guess they stopped the line here. That kind of makes sense. There's also an Amtrak that runs Boston to Chicago, known as the Lakeshore Limited in this area. But it do be looking good. Again, it looks like kind of like the Train Sim Classic route did. The whole town, of course, modernized naturally. You still got some of the older signals here. The station itself looks really good. One of the best looking North American stations, probably in Train Sim World. Here's where one of the old lines is. This here is part of the Providence and Worcester Class 2 that goes up to, God, I can't remember the name of the town. It's called like Lindsay or Ronald or something like that. I can't remember the name of the town, but there's like a plastics manufacturer up there, plastic pellets or something. But this is Worcester. It's hilly. It's pretty country out here. It really is, and also try to make it more apropos to the time of year, fall as we call in the States, or autumn to the rest of the world. You know, and it looks okay. I do have it in early October. But way up here in the north, you know, early October is pretty much already fall. But here's the CSX Intermodal Yard, complete with all the engines. Of course, you will not have any of this stuff if you do not have sand patch grade and a couple of other locomotives. Conrail! I don't know where I got that. I don't know if that's from like something off the workshop or what, but it looks legit. Here's part of the extended platform. They did a whole rework of this area to post when this is supposed to be. There are layover trains, MBTA, that'll chill out in this before they start their run back to Boston. Here's the front side of the station, complete with a roundabout, which looks pretty good, barring the road not level with the rest of everything else. But a cool station. I've always loved the way Union Station looks in Worcester, and the way it's like, it's got that old kind of, you know, for you lot in the UK, it's kind of got that UK look to it, does it not? The way all the tracks converge and the station is in betwixt. I don't even know if I said that right, but again, I wonder if they got this model from High Iron Simulations. I don't know, but there's crap all over the ground. Again, a bit much, I don't know, but all right, we are in the cab car, bi-level, of course. Let's go ahead and check the horn out. Is that a P3? I don't know. Sounds pretty good though. Let's check the bell. Again, E-bell. That's what that funny looking chalice thing is right here. Or goblet. You can see the ditch lights flashing. Alright, let's get this thing set up here. Alright, what do we got? Let's stand up. You can open a trap door when the door is open. There we go for your steps down yonder. Let's close that back. Close. Close the door. Close it. Close it.
Caution, the door is about to close.
It's got some actual somewhat realistic sounds there for the area. Here's your door controls. You like playing that conductor deal, which again you can do with this conductor. You got some piping and conduit and things like that as your handbrake, or part of the handbrake there. I don't know if you can actually activate that or not. Wiper on this side. Like you can't open the door. That would be interesting. Nothing on the back. Here's your HVAC. There's our seat. Alright, what do we got up here? Here's your display. Again, fuse cabinet. Let's turn alerter. Let's turn all that stuff on. Closed means on. Open means not on. I think we got that set up correctly. There's your TMS controls. There's your radio. Let's see. Cab heater. Headlights. We'll set those to bright and auxiliary. Reverser. Right here, you're going to want to hit that to cut in your brakes. Just open the window. There's our key. Put it in neutral. And forward. Independent brake applied. That's interesting. Release the air brake. We should be good to go. Get our gauge lights on. Check the bell. Or the horn inside. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I feel like the ones in real life are a bit raspy. Could just be, you know, old winter salt air that's made them raspy in real life. But anywho, let's open the doors. Oh, oh, flying car. Okay, now we're under the road. Okay, cool. And then, oh, they're just falling right out. Damn dog. South Station, Boston, of course. Worcester. Now, yeah, it does look like it says Worcester. but Bostonians and Massachusettsians pronounce it Worcester. W-O-O-S-T-A-H. Worcester. Dovetail Times got a newspaper thingamabob there. Alright, let's get in and lock them up. Crack open my caffeine because I need some. Alright, next stop, Grafton. 6 miles. Notch 1. We be rolling. Let's get that other window open too. No, not the door. Son of a... Awkward. Awkward.
The door is about to close.
There we go. There's the window. Alright, notch 2. So it's relatively slow out of here. We're relegated to 30. It is a bit curvy, as we will display on the map. Through here, because it is a bit hilly. It's a very pretty area in real life, though. The land around the town, anyway. Back behind us, sorry, going the other direction. That goes on to Springfield, Massachusetts, so this way. This is just where the MBTA stops running. This is CSX Worcester Yard, the intermodal yard. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where they switched the yard right outside of Boston to here. The town that the Providence and Worcester Class 2 freight goes up to Gardner. I don't know what the hell I was saying earlier. I think I said Ronald. I don't know why. Yeah. It's Gardner, not Ronald. Yeah, that's where the line goes. I think there's another CSX interchange up there as well. Coaches look good. They're pretty much the same cars that we got from the last add-on, the San Bernardino line, minus the bits on top. You know, they do look a bit different overall. We got some more of the color signals there. Gonna scooch over here in the next line. I do like the suspension physics going over the joints there and the switches. So it looks like those were indeed added as well. Mess with the sun visor, but you can't see your screen up here. Got your eye in the sky. Alright, we've now got a 40. Give it a couple more notches. The autumn colors don't look great. They've never looked great, Trainson World, let's be honest. They look super muted and just kind of weird. Almost like a Fantasyland look. Like a Disney cartoon. Got some more modern signals up here. These are what I was talking about earlier. These are called Vaders due to the big hood. Very CSX-ness. Cab cars are kind of funny, you know. I mean, they're neat, but it's the whole sound thing. It's almost like having an electric car. You know, with a combustion engine, you can always tell your speed or what your engine's doing by the revs, by the sound it's making, if something's wrong, so on and so forth. With stuff like this, it's hard. You don't really hear anything, you know. You can hear the rolling sound. That's about it. Slow down a skosh. This is probably the curviest that any of the line is. Pretty good curves. It's damn near a horseshoe curve there. Here's Grafton up here. This here might be the Grafton, gosh, what's it called? It's a class 3 railroad. I think it's called Grafton and Upton. But I thought it was actually in Grafton. Although, no, it is a bit to the west of Grafton. So that's interesting. The trackage is definitely there. Huh. I do know a skosh about that road. It could almost be playable within Train Sim World because they have got they got like a GP9 and some other older locomotives and stuff, but they have an old switcher or two. I think an MP15. So you could kind of make that work with the CSX switcher. You know, skin it. Alright, we are clear for 55. Yeah, these autumn colors look pretty terrible. Get up high and look around the lakes and the rolling hills. It is pretty country out here. And we are going downhill as well. Alright, 3.5 miles to Grafton. Alright, so it's pretty remote and woodsy out this way. So what do you say we meet down in Grafton? Alright, so we're down here in Grafton now, a couple miles down the road. The train is actually coming to meet us that way. I should probably put on a minimum reduction just to slow us down a bit. But this is the kind of the entrance to this line up here for the Grafton and Upton Railroad. It's a class 3 short line consisting of only 25 miles from Grafton to Franklin. The line opened way back in the 1800s, late 1800s, and originally connected to the Boston and Albany Railroad, you know, so on and so forth, which is now, of course, CSX. CSX, defect detector. So let's see what's down here. Looks like they do have the yard. I don't really see any rail cars sitting down there. We got some axles and some trash and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You could kind of do some work between this and, you know, CSX, switching cars out, but that's about it. It doesn't appear to be too much more than that. Let's get the brakes off the train, run back up here. Yeah, but it looks like all the trackage is here in the facility itself, you know, which is pretty neat. Not much farther down is the actual town of Grafton. Let's head down there. Here is the station, the MBTA station for Grafton. Small town, little hamlet, burb, village. Train should be coming around the bend here momentarily. Let's see if we can hear the horn. Not yet, not yet. Let's go ahead and put on some auto brake there. Still don't hear the horn. Let's look at the map. Yeah, we're like right there, man. Man, where is that thing? But anyway, it's another kind of newer, just suburb-looking platform style. A bit more modern. Looks pretty legit, as far as I can tell. Big parking lot up there. You know, people parking in the suburbs and riding into Boston. Go to work, go to school, you know, things like that. Let's see if we can get a nice... Where the hell is that train, my dude? I turn off the safety systems as well. See what it sounds like under braking and all that, you know? It says we're only doing 18 mile an hour. Still don't hear the horn. It's okay, yeah. We're doing 16 miles, so it's barely moving. I can very, very faintly hear the horn now. All right, let's give it some beans. Being that it is near Boston. Boston. Baked beans. Bean Town, as it's called. There it is. I feel like they've reused that horn. Is that the horn they reused for the CSX SD40 add-on? It literally sounds identical. I mean, it wasn't a bad sound. I don't know why they wouldn't reuse it, but it just doesn't quite have that kind of crunchy MBTA cab car sound. Yeah, the cars themselves, the coaches could use some tuning up on the sounds. They just sound a bit muted. Alright, so that's Grafton. There are a couple more stations east. I do want to check out the F40, see what sounds are different on that. But, you know, bit more to the east, we got Westboro, and then Southboro, Ashland, and then it's Framingham. We went to Framingham, but there is one place I want to check out, which is the Transflow Terminal. So let's go down there and have a peek. Alright, so Transflow is on the map. We are just outside of Southboro, which is just that way a little bit. Looks like there is a train sitting here, probably some sort of local. But it's a transfer yard, so it's truck to train, or train to truck. What they call transload, which is not a new thing. Oh, it's rolling. Okay. But, yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what it looks like. And they did add it. I would assume, or I would hope, that there are some services that you can do back in here. Bring cars down, pick cars up, things like that. But it's just more variety onto the route. You can see the EOT blinking back there on that train. But let's check out the F40 and see what all's changed sound-wise on that thing. Alright guys, so I set it to winter. We are in January, put snow on the ground, and we are in the F40. So again, I'm like Boston, I'm not going to go over everything, you know, tit for tat with the F40 like with Boston. Like I said, it should be linked in the beginning of the video if you want to go back and take a look at the original video with Boston Providence when I looked at this loco. But it was pretty damn good, especially for Train Sim World North American standards. So let's see what changed. It's got a new horn. That thing sounds pretty damn spicy. Shit. That sounds good. That might be the best, God dang, that sounds pretty good, man. Okay. They cooked with a horn sound, so they added a bunch of other sounds. Like I said, I don't think the prime mover sounds were added. You know, but they did add horn, bell, brake sounds, button switches, alerts, things like that. So we'll just have a quick little run and listen. We'll cut everything on and see what is what. Alerter is now cut in. Engine is set to run. We have a weird train here. It says something like extra. It was that weird ass train. It's going from Boston to Framingham. It's just a bunch of flat cars. Maybe it's supposed to be the geometry train, which for those again unaware, I hate saying that over and over. It checks the track for issues. Make sure everything's gravy. Let's see. It's kind of like a preventative measure, you know. Get out ahead of it. Let's see. What's that? Safety on. All right, let's hop back in this bad boy. All right, so we've got a double red. When does this service start? I have no clue. I'm assuming we gotta wait for some trains. We are an extra, so we're coming out of the yard. This Boston South Station up here. Let's see, Ginfield is on. Throw the key in, throw it forwards. All right, now our stuff has come to life. So there are some new sounds. They sound a bit funny. It's like a squishy sound with the acknowledge. All right, let's make sure our brakes cut in. Cut in, lead. We're dead. We are in lead. Step lights on, gauge lights on. PCS open. The frick? Why? Why is PCS open? It's weird. Denied. All right, so we could essentially, I mean, it wouldn't be under load, but we could listen to it right here. The problem is we got this damn Jeep behind us, which might muddy the sounds up a bit. Yeah, I don't think the prime mover sounds are the same, or the new ones, I mean. And they sound different, and I think it's because it's from another game, you know. And whenever they change games or do updates and things like that, we always get messed up, you know, patches and updates. We do have a clear signal now. All right, let's just run forward a skosh. That damn horn sounds pretty good, though. Give it a couple notches. That GP38's messing us up back there. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything notable with that. I hope Dovetail gets on the ball and actually patches in the sounds that we were supposed to have from them that they talked all about without actually breaking anything else. But I'm not going to get too deep into the F40. Overall, though, guys, I do think it's an all right route. Visually, when you start getting outside of the town, vegetation and the ground, and of course the ground textures and everything do look weird. I wish they would kind of start getting, you know, how foliage looks in certain types of geography and certain locales and things like that. You know, but they did seem to add more grasses and vegetation, to be fair, which is nice. You do have quite a bit of variety. Of course, you need all this other stuff to be able to do any freight. You know, so if you don't have it, you're looking at well over $100, even on sale, to have all this stuff, you know, for freight. And then, of course, if you don't have any of the Amtrak stuff or the Acela, which, again, I'd highly recommend both of these. The new ACS and Boston Providence and the Acela, epic DLCs. They did get kind of messed up over time as well, if I'm not mistaken. I can't recall. I haven't played them in too long. But you do get a whole new engine. You get the F40 again as a consolation prize. You get this new, you know, cab car and coaches. You get the old ones as well. Overall seems all right. It's got all kinds of different services. It's a commuter route, so it's only a couple of trains, and then you'll start seeing freight. So playability wise, it's like a lot of Train Sim World stuff. To me, it's just meh. It's like what else are you gonna do? You got the training modules for the safety systems and the route as a whole. Um, sounds. There are some pretty damn good sounds. I think, especially for the North American fans, the North American side of things, they are picking up sounds. Thank God. I would like to see some North American freight and some good North American freight sounds. Who knows if that will ever happen? So I think the sounds are good, barring the F40, which I don't want to say they lied. They apparently said they forgot to add them, which is just ridiculous. Visuals, graphics, again, it's Train Sim World. Value, the increased price over time, $40 freaking now. There was no pre-release discount. It's a bit ridiculous. So overall, with those four things with value, playability, sounds, and visuals, it sounds like half, but I'd give this like a solid 7.5 or 8. I mean, I didn't really play too much of it, to be fair. I'm going to need a lot more time of it. But it's not bad. It's not bad. If you're into commuter stuff, this might be right up your alley. But that is going to do it for this video. If you'd like to see more of the Boston Providence stuff, like I said, I'll link that video as well, which will cover the F40, the Acela, the ACS, and Boston Providence as a whole. But that is it, guys. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.